Today's first story has multiple updates. It says, my 22 male girlfriend, 23 female, is secretly visiting my abusive parents with our son, 3 male, and doesn't understand why this upset me. We had a huge fight and I don't know what to do now. I didn't have an easy time growing up. My childhood was so fucked up that I sort of just put it all in a mental box and left it at that. Needless to say, I left my parents as soon as I could and then went no contact and haven't seen them since. There's several reasons I went no contact, and she seemed understanding enough when I told her that I didn't even want to tell my parents about their grandson. I don't want my girlfriend around these people, and above all, I would never leave any child alone around these people. My girlfriend doesn't know about what exactly my father did to me and my sister, but I also feel she doesn't have to know in order to respect my wishes. Yesterday, my sister texted me a picture of our parents' dog. In the background was my son's shoes. Our mother uploaded it on Facebook, where I have them blocked, but my sister recognized the shoes, though mainly was concerned about them even having a kid over. My girlfriend and I both work. She's only part-time, but we always have someone to watch our child, either my sister or my girlfriend's family, so it's not like she had to bring him there to have someone to watch him. This was a deliberate decision that she should have made with me. I talked to my son about it, and turns out he's been there several times unsupervised, alone with my father. Apparently nothing happened, but I was understandably angry and confronted my girlfriend as soon as she was back home, which of course led to a huge fight. She left crying and went to her parents' house, and later her mother came to pick up my son, which I refused, which led to a fight with her mum too. My girlfriend texted me asking to talk later today, and I know I can't keep my son from her. I also don't want to, but I don't want to go into our conversation unprepared, so any advice is welcome. I also feel betrayed and still very angry, and I'm honestly ready to break up over this. But my son is very upset and anxious because he heard our fight, and I'm just at a complete loss and I don't know how to handle this. The first commenter says, on the one hand, if she doesn't know the whole story, I can appreciate why she would want to try and foster a relationship. But on the other, she betrayed you. And further, why did she need a secret babysitter? It kind of seems like maybe there's more to this if she was leaving him with them. Opie says, even without the whole story, I always felt like she knew enough about my childhood. I can understand it too. My mother also told me not to hold grudges, and my father apparently has issues with his liver. Wondering where that's coming from. So I should just take the first step and forgive him. But this is my decision, and she kept it a secret for months and essentially told my son to lie to me. I was so angry. I didn't even think about any other reason why she would leave him there. But you're right. I mean, I kind of just assumed that she would visit them to rebuild that relationship because we have babysitters. Or Dredd says, not a lawyer. If you guys break up, you'll most likely have 50-50 custody. And it's extremely unlikely that a judge will ban her from taking the child to see its own grandparents. It doesn't sound like there's been any documentation of abuse from your parents. Doctor's visits, cop investigations, any reports, etc. So while you can say it happened, they can deny it. Your sister being a witness may help or not. All of this you need to discuss with a lawyer. It might be supervised visits with the grandparents or something, but I think at this point you need to accept that there's a good chance they'd be in your son's life. Yes, she should have considered your feelings more. You also should have been more open and honest about what happened. Consider if you passed away without telling her this information. Do you think she still would have kept him from your parents? No. She'd want him to have that connection to your family. So if this is to protect your son, you should have told her. If it was to protect you, then you did the right thing. Opie says, yeah, my sister and I have no proof of what happened, and she wanted to get financial aid because her PTSD makes it harder for her to work, but her lawyer said it'd be hard to get anyone to believe her or us. She gave up on that eventually. A couple of people have suggested lawyers and custody agreements, but I'm worried that my son will get to live with my girlfriend and her family if we did break up, because I have nobody in my corner except for my sister, while she's his mum and has a whole family to support her. Admitting to or confronting what happened with my parents in the past is really hard for me, which is why I never actually told her in detail, and I think that was my mistake. I never considered that she'd wish for him to get to meet them. Up until my sister texted me the photo, I kind of just ignored they existed. Okay, Locksmith says, oh, she taught your son not to trust you. That would be a reason to drag her ass to court for a custody agreement, but she also has to sign that she will never go to your parents behind your back with him. Imagine a toddler who gets told by his mum not to tell daddy. That little kid was in an abuser's home unsupervised, many times. Imagine grandpa would have done something to him and that kid had learned to keep secrets. That's horrible and manipulative. Imagine an accident happened to that child. He would have been none the wiser. That betrayal is unforgivable. She drove a wedge between you and your kid. Nah, I would be done. Opie says I panicked when he said it was something he wasn't supposed to say. She apparently told him it was a surprise, and that's why he had to say he was at her parents'. I wouldn't have been this upset had she cheated on me, but she involved him, made him a secret and put him at risk. And the more I've been thinking about this, the more I feel like I can't trust her anymore. Especially if something did happen and he just doesn't realize I haven't asked the right question or he doesn't have the vocabulary. So Opie came in with an update after 4 days and says, "First of all, thank you for all the comments and input. I didn't feel like I could even think when I made my initial post, so it was good getting different perspectives. This will be a long post, but I'll put a TLDR at the bottom. I did write that my girlfriend and I would talk that same day I posted, but we didn't because I needed to sort myself out and think she did too. She's been avoiding me ever since and requested we talk at her parents' place. But I didn't want that, so we didn't get to talk until yesterday, while my son was at my sister's. Apparently, in September last year, my mother reached out to my girlfriend on Facebook, asking how me and my son were doing. My mother is a very intelligent woman, but highly manipulative. She convinced my girlfriend to visit them because my father is ill. My girlfriend said she didn't tell me because she knew I'd say no, and she wanted to see what kind of people my parents were. She brought our son, but didn't leave him alone at first. But their visits got fairly regular, and she became comfortable with leaving him with my parents. He seemed fine, he even seemed to like it there, so she didn't feel like he was in danger. The first time she left my son fully alone was when she went Christmas shopping. I think from what I had told her about my childhood home, she expected a house of horrors, but according to her, the place was clean and fixed up. The dog was healthy and my parents were nice. The thing is that she knew something happened to my sister. I never told her what happened to me, which I now see I probably should have done. She doesn't see predators everywhere like I do, and when my son didn't report anything negative, she saw no issue taking him and leaving him there. It's pretty clear she doesn't know anything about abuse and what it can look like. I don't understand how she could think she'd be able to spot the signs with this little knowledge. My father has been in contact with children most of my life, and while I don't know if he's done anything to them, my sister always said he knew how to make children feel at ease. Both of my parents are very methodical and calculating, so I don't blame her for believing them, but I blame her for not discussing this with me. She went to visit them after talking to my mother for a few days. Meanwhile, I've lived there for 17 years, and somehow she thought she knew better than me. Even when I told her some details about my childhood, she still tried to push supervised visits, saying my father was ill and my son had a right to meet his grandparents, which I don't agree with at all. The thought of children being around these people makes me sick, but she seems reluctant to agree to officially limit their visitation rights. I'd need her agreement, however, unless I want a court case. I also try to explain why this felt like a betrayal, because this is not just about putting my son in danger. It's also about her going behind my back for months. What else would she be capable of? Then she told my son to keep the visits a secret, which is exactly what abusers say too. She did apologize. She made an honest mistake and feels like I'm blowing this out of proportion and that her parents think so too. Besides, our son is fine and I shouldn't have raised my voice at her mother and should be more grateful for what her parents have done for me and us over the years, which I am. I owe them, sure, but that doesn't mean they can just overrule my parenting decisions or get so involved. I feel like neither her nor her parents trust me or take me seriously, and it's so frustrating when the mother of your son is pretty much actively working against you. I don't think she can even grasp how terrified I was when I talked to my son about their visits. Again, I know it's my fault for not telling her everything, but I never thought she would do something like that. My past never really affected me much anyway. I never felt like there was a reason for her to know all the details. Honestly, I don't know if anything is resolved. I know why she made the choices she made, but I don't feel like she understands why I was and still am upset. She left after bringing up her mother because I got angry. And I know I shouldn't have, but I revealed something so big and just still don't get taken seriously. I want us to work, and she agreed that it'd take a lot of work to get back to before all of this, which I'm not sure is even possible. I apparently deeply upset her and scared our son. True, I never wanted us to fight in front of him like that either, and I angered her family. I think for me emotionally, all feelings for her vanished the moment I found out, so that's kind of where I'm at now. I wish we could make it work for his sake, but I don't want him to grow up with dysfunctional parents or with his parents fighting every day. So if this doesn't work out, I'll need to get a lawyer. I'm willing to put in the work needed for us to stay together, but I've been doing a lot of thinking. We were so young when we started dating and had our son, and I'm not sure I ever thought about us staying together forever. I only stayed because I was living with them, and then I stayed because I didn't want to be a shitty teen dad, abandoning my son and the girl I loved, because I really did love her, I think. Also, I'm partially responsible for her being pregnant in the first place, before he was even born. As for my son, I've talked to him a lot these past few days. I taught him about touch and what's okay and what isn't, so I just hope it's true that nothing happened. He has also apparently not seen anything inappropriate. Our fight got to him though, and he knows I was sad and knows his mum is too. I hope him and I talked it out enough and that my girlfriend gets to talk about this with him too. We might just sit him down or something. I need to talk to her about that. Edit. I feel the need to clarify a few things. Also, I see a bunch of people fighting in the comments and I didn't word things as clearly as I should have in the post. I went no contact with my parents when I moved out for good. When my girlfriend was pregnant, we talked about my parents and I told her I did not want to tell them they were going to be grandparents. I did not want them to ever see our child. She agreed and that was that. Her and I have talked about my childhood prior to my first post. She knows enough about my living conditions to know it was unsafe for any child. She knows my father is a violent alcoholic and she knows about a lot of crazy shit my mother pulled over the years. She knows my sister has a PTSD diagnosis and she knows my father touched her. That is everything she knew, and I honestly think that should have been enough. The parents also know about most of this. Yes, I raised my voice at her and her mum when I found out she had been taking him there, and I should definitely not have done that. It's been really hard to stay calm when talking about my parents, especially with her refusing to listen to me. Our conversation on Thursday was very emotional as well, but I ultimately just shut down after I told her that my father has also abused me. Yet she still said, I don't see why we can't do supervised visits. I don't even have an argument because logically he can't do anything with someone watching, but it still feels like I'd be trafficking my son, even if he doesn't touch him at all. I can't even explain why I feel that way. People in the comments say it's just an emotional response, which is true, and maybe it's illogical, but I truly don't see how getting to know his grandparents would be beneficial to him in any way. The reason I hadn't told her the details before is because I was fine being intimate. I managed at work. Not like I want to kill myself every day because my parents were shitty or something. It didn't need to be brought up, and then having to talk about it is just painful. There's a lot of shame and just things my parents, I guess, brainwashed me to feel. It felt even more impossible after how dismissive she was. Things have calmed down between us now. Maybe it's sinking in for her now, even though she still argues that nothing happened and ultimately everything was fine. But it still feels like that's just her inability to accept she's made a mistake. Repeatedly. She said she really thought they were okay because they seemed normal. Cleaned house and all. The dog is not a ball of matted hair like our old one. Everything being the opposite of how I described it. I don't think she'd bring him there behind my back again, but obviously I can't say for certain. We have not talked about this anymore. Maybe we need that right now so our son doesn't realize how bad it is between us currently, though I'm worried he knows anyway. I think we will separate though. I don't see us as a future partners anymore. Her teaching him to lie to me, and her parents apparently told her that it isn't a big deal, really scares me. I'm scared they will paint me as abusive or something because I really don't have much going for me when it comes to custody. She's the one with a functional support system, with people helping her look after our child, and her parents have the money for a good lawyer and can risk a lengthy legal battle. All of this, however, are things I need to talk to a lawyer about as soon as I find one. I'm not feeling anything for her anymore, not even anger. I know we can't stay together. I don't want us to end up like my parents. I don't want my son exposed to that, so I'm going to have to discuss separating with a lawyer and then decide from there. I think the best I can hope for is that we'll separate without much fighting, and that we can co-parent effectively, which is also why I don't want to stir up any more arguments.